My chair broke. Last time, Dr. Smith rolled a pink bowling ball at some pins. When the ball came back, it looked like a traditional black bowling ball. Well, except for that burning fuse sticking out of the side of it. It looked like a cartoon bomb and exploded like a large firecracker. Somebody's messing with you.
William, good heavens. What's that?
Where'd it come from?
Who cares? It's a gift from the gods. Oh, gold.
If it was solid gold, you wouldn't be able to move it that easily. It'd weigh almost as much as you do. Fortunately, he doesn't have to try and figure out how to move it. It rolls away all on its own and goes into a cave.
You, sir, into the cave quickly.
If you do not mind, I prefer to remain out here.
Get in there, you cowardly clump.
Smith is so consumed by greed it never occurs to him to ask why the robot doesn't want to go in there, but I keep hoping someday Will might raise the question. On the other hand, the effort would be wasted on Dr. Smith, so maybe he's saving his energy for whatever danger Smith will inevitably drag them into.
Let's get out of here.
Yes, William, I think we should. Get the ball.
Someday, Will is going to be tall enough to look Smith in the eye and say, "Get it yourself." Okay, either that ball is a thin, hollow shell, or this episode just lost me.
Good heavens, who are you? William, behind you, careful!
They're hat salesmen, can't you tell? They say, "We need the robot. We'll give you that gold ball and lots more." Will refuses and they start for the door.
The gold is yours. It's useless to try and escape. Your fate is already sealed.
And yet, in the next scene, Dr. Smith has run screaming back to the ship the way he does pretty much every day on this planet.
I computed the aliens. They are capable of sinister and dangerous acts.
A fine episode we'd have if they just wanted to plant water lilies.
We must be on our guard against them.
Can you tell us why they wanted you?
There was a mental barrier between myself and their motive.
John says, "Okay, we'll take precautions. We'll move in pairs, always armed. And we should be safe from them inside the ship."
Professor Robinson. Professor Robinson.
That is not the correct move, Professor Robinson. You should move the knight instead.
Why, it's coming from that chess piece.
We wish to speak with you, Professor Robinson. You will come to the cave.
There we shall teach you how you may win every game in exchange for the robot. I'll be right back. Robot, come with me. He figures he'd better do as they say. He and Don take their laser pistols, and they also take Smith. He has to show him where the cave is. Plus, even though they don't know it, he's the one who got them into this, chasing that gold ball. Or more precisely, making Will chase it. These guys are the typical bullies, making threats instead of requests, constantly yammering about what they'll do if the Robinsons don't comply, blah, blah, blah. They've heard it a dozen times, and they're still here while the bullies aren't. The conversation in the cave goes exactly as you'd expect.
I offered you great riches for your mechanical man. Now, we will have to take him, and you will receive nothing.
The kind of riches you're offering would be nothing but dead weight in the ship. All they'd be able to do with it is look at it and say, "We're rich," while having nothing of actual value.
I don't know why you want the robot. Perhaps if you told us, we could help you.
Only the mechanical man can solve our problem. For the last time, will you sell him to us?
He's not for sale.
Very well. Then we will act accordingly.
The robot mentions that fear is an emotion that can be learned, and he's terrified. He figures his number is up. Tender soul that he is, Smith hammers away at him for being a coward until the robot goes off by himself to sulk, because Smith has so much room to accuse anyone else of cowardice.
Oh, Will Robinson, I am so unhappy. Soon I'll be taken away from these familiar surroundings, from the friends I love. The good life will be lost forever.
Don't talk like that. It'll only make you feel worse.
I know. I try to fight it, but without success.
Fear is something that can be learned. So is clinical depression, I guess. I've been where he is. I don't ever want to go back. Not only are we humans the only creatures in the universe who don't know how to transport ourselves, we are also the only creatures in the universe who were affected by that force field. They spend some time studying the ship's schematics and systems, then the leader goes and gets the robot. He threatens to harm the Robinsons if the robot doesn't comply, so of course the robot capitulates. Bullies always count on that. Next morning, everyone knows what happened. John and Don go to the cave to find him. Found him.
Well, our first problem was getting him back to the ship.
That will not be necessary. We shall be through with the mechanical man soon.
You had no right to take him in the first place.
I believe, Professor Robinson, that you Earth people have a saying. Might makes right.
No, you're only telling part of the story. That is a negative proverb, one that decent Earthlings disapprove of. We look down on those who believe it and try to practice it. We tend to have wars to stop them, like we need to do with you.
What do you want with the robot?
The mechanical man is a most interesting machine. We happen to be interested in machines.
If you'd have asked, we'd have let you examine him.
You wouldn't have had to go through all this trouble.
We did ask and were refused.
No, you said you wanted to buy him, not examine him. Big difference. You understand might makes right, but you don't understand the difference between buy and borrow. Go back to the drawing board. They have some kind of field protecting that workbench, of course. They say, we'll return him when we're done, and to show that we mean it, you can take his head. We're done with it. It's funny how they stay in the shadows and won't show themselves to anyone who's armed. Very superior, you dig. Can destroy you at a whim. Afraid of simple laser pistols. Got it. True to their word, sometime later they've returned the robot. Or at least all the parts. They didn't have the courtesy to put him back together, of course. That might make them look weak. Or something.
Now I'm going to have to enlarge that rivet hole.
Didn't it fit before without enlarging? If you end up with parts left over, you might want to consult the manual again.
Get that power up too high.
Set on low.
Even after he switches it off, the drill has a mind of its own. Similar issues are happening with machinery all over the ship. It's as if someone else is controlling them. I wonder who. They go in for breakfast and Will finishes the job.
Where am I? What happened?
Everything works, more or less.
Oh, something is wrong. I experience discomfort in my rototem. A little later.
Well, I can fix that. There, now try it.
I've looked at that can every way I know how, and I'm 98% certain it's good old WD-40. They even use it in the future in space. Talk about an enduring product. And remember what I said about machines going bonkers in the ship? It's time for a little comic relief.
Proper exercise is essential to withstand the vicissitudes of life on this desolate planet.
It's going too fast. I must overdo. I'm gonna slow down a little.
Will brings the completed robot to the family. Hopefully he can tell us why the aliens wanted him and why they took him apart.
The aliens wish to rule the Earth
Just how do they propose to go about doing this?
by building a device which will control all machines. With it, they would have the power of life and death.
They took him apart to study how Earth machines work, and obviously they've built their control device.
Yeah. It's beginning to make a little sense to me now. control other machines. It'll be a very powerful weapon. It'll be so powerful it can control the entire universe.
They would even have the power to make the music so loud you almost can't hear the dialogue. John and Don are discussing the situation and decide they have to go try to destroy that machine.
John, are you going to tell Maureen that we're going?
No, I don't think so. Look, we'll either get back before we're missed or...
We won't get back at all.
He should know by now. She's a mom. Not only does she have eyes in the back of her head, her ears are strategically placed everywhere. She hears everything. And now it's time to test him.
Are you two going out?
Just for a few minutes.
Don and I are going to check the camp area.
May I go with you?
No, Don and I can handle it.
Aren't you going to take your laser rifles with you?
Oh, we're in no immediate danger. Well, we'll be back before you know it.
He lied to her. That's what we call failing the test. He's even more vague with Will and the robot, but the robot knows what they're doing. He says, I know your father said to stay here, but they're going to need our help. We have to follow them. As you might expect, since their laser pistols are machines, they don't work inside the cave. Maybe they can at least serve as clubs to bash it to pieces.
Dad!
Will! What are you doing here?
The robot thought we might be able to help.
The mechanical man is mistaken. Our invention is invulnerable. Neither man nor machine can destroy it.
The robot says, step aside, I'll handle this.
I don't understand. How'd you do it?
It was the alien who gave me the clue.
Clue? What clue?
He said that their invention could not be destroyed by neither man nor machine. It is obvious that I am not a man, but I am also not quite a machine. I suppose I must be something in between.
We've been hinting at that for a while. He's developing emotions and is unusually self-aware for a robot. Best I can remember, we won't find out how that happened, but it's obvious why it happened. He was one of the most popular characters on the show, so we had to find some excuse to give him a personality. This episode was that excuse.
Dad, Don, look at this!
All right, gather them up, mail them to Canada, and men without hats can finally change their name. Good grief, another alien machine? No, it's the weather monitor. Today's weather report is hot, and somebody overloaded the air conditioning unit, so John and Don have to fix it before they'll get any relief. And Maureen can't find Penny.
Oh, here's a thirsty one. You're not going to die like all the others because of the heat. I'll see to that. Here, Debbie, you want a watering? Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Isn't it lovely?
Oh no! A man in a golden suit who moves at the speed of a three-toed sloth. How will Penny and Debbie ever escape? Don't miss our next exciting episode. If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.